the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
I want to talk about the top 5 storylines entering the NFL season. I'll give you my list. Brian, you'll give your list. I'm gonna start it off. So, number 1 for me, I got to go with the Bears. I have to go with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, we already know the hype around him being compared to Patrick Mahomes, coming from USC, being the number 1 overall pick. Scouts calling him a generational talent. All the buzz about him. They surround him with just an amazing receiving core. Keenan Allen. You already had DJ Moore. You drafted the wide receiver after Rome Odunze, the wide receiver out of Washington, who was regarded as a top 3 wide receiver, and in most drafts he'd probably be the number 1 receiver. So he has a very talented group. They upgraded the offensive line. The defense is a little bit better. So I think the Bears. Oh yeah, and also Hard Knocks as well. They're on Hard Knocks. So the number 1 storyline to me has to be the Chicago Bears, because just the uncertainty, and the Bears have never done well when it comes to developing a quarterback. And can Caleb Williams finally just put an end to that narrative about the Bears developing quarterbacks? Number 2, I got to go with the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels. And I could say the same thing with the Commanders, and just the fact that they, in terms of their franchise's history, have not developed quarterbacks on an elite level. Kirk Cousins, he was okay, but besides that, who do you got? I mean, you had 1 year with RG3, and then you got to go all the way back to Joe Theismann to really find a great quarterback in franchise history. So with this team, I'm looking at Jaden Daniels, and you could say it's a lot of buzz and hype surrounding him. I've heard a lot of scouts, a lot of NFL analysts have been proclaiming Jaden Daniels is possibly the best prospect in the NFL draft. So I can't wait to see the Commanders and how Jaden Daniels sort of deals with all the attention, because we saw with RG3, he had that 1 great year, and then the next year, he was cooked food. Can Jaden Daniels be the opposite of RG3, where not only does he have a great rookie year, but he actually has a great long-term career with the Commanders? That's going to be a great storyline to see. And then you look at the NFC East, I feel like the Commanders could really make some buzz depending on how their quarterback develops. So that's another storyline I'm excited to see. Let's go to number 3 on the list. I'm going to go with the New York Jets. You thought we forgot about y'all? Just, last year you had Hard Knocks. You thought we forgot? Nah, we haven't forgot. Here's the deal. Aaron Rodgers, it's very plain and simple. You go out there and you trade for Hassan Reddick. Now, I don't know what the hell's going on with him. You trade for all these players. You draft Malachi Corley in the 3rd round, who's a solid. He's a solid pick for them. Good wide receiver. A lot of scouts had him projected in the 2nd round. You upgraded the offensive line with Trent Williams, and you drafted one of the better offensive linemen.
You mean
in the
Tyron Smith?
NFL draft. I said, what did I say? What did I
You
say?
said Trent Williams.
Trent Williams. Oh my God. Anywho, you upgraded the offensive line. You finally went away from that just tragic offensive line from previous years. Mekhi Becton is an example. He was absolutely horrible. And then you also, you still got a solid receiving core. You still got Breece Hall. So you have some pieces at your disposal. It's just Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. Will Aaron Rodgers come to play, or will he be washed up? will the offensive coordinator finally dial up something good, or is he going to continue to be trash? So
Is Hackett still
it's
there, or they got rid of him?
he's still there,
Oh,
man. Like he's still there.
hmm.
But there was reports that they were trying to move him and replace him for somebody else. I think what's his name? Arthur Smith. They were thinking about replacing him with Arthur Smith or somebody else.
Replacing
But
trash with poop.
hey, Arthur Smith is better than Nathaniel Hackett. But
Well,
anywho, we'll see. They have all the talent in the world. They have one of the best rosters in the NFL. But can they put it together? Can the coaching staff can they really get these players to buy in? Can Aaron
mm,
Rodgers stop being distracted by other things and really lock into this football team? And can he be the same Aaron Rodgers that we saw in Green Bay? Not the last year, but the years before that. I don't know. There's so many question marks, and that's why this is a great storyline. It's not just the talent, but it's the questions surrounding it. We don't know if they're going to be good or not. And that's why it's a great storyline. Number 4 on my list, the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love. So here's the deal. Now, I say the Green Bay Packers because are we looking at the next superstar QB in Jordan Love? Are we looking at the next great team in the Packers? Because last year we saw they were the youngest team in the NFL. They make the playoffs, they win a playoff game, they play well against San Francisco up to the end. They were actually up in the game at one point, but then ultimately the youth started kicking in and San Francisco was able to prevail. Are we looking at the next great team, or are we looking at a one-hit wonder in Jordan Love and the
mm.
Green Bay Packers? I don't know, but we'll see. This is my 4th best storyline. The number 5, I want to go to the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud. Same thing with Jordan Love and the Packers. Are we looking at the next big superstar? Are we looking at the next superstar quarterback that can rival Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. I don't know. But the way he was looking in year 1, man, it's going to be scary what he looks like in year 2 when you add Stephon Diggs to the equation. And then you add a solid running back to the equation. Are the Houston Texans building a championship team? Is this finally the year that they get over the hump and they're the team that can rival the Kansas City Chiefs? Not the Baltimore Ravens, not the Buffalo Bills, not the Cincinnati Bengals, not the Miami Dolphins, not all of these other teams. Are the Houston Texans the team that can knock off the Kansas City Chiefs? They got the potential. I mean, they have the offense, they have the quarterback, they have the offensive, they
Anything is
have the
possible.
coaches. Hey, you never know. That's why I have
Mm.
him at number 5. That is my top 5 storylines for the 2024 NFL season. What is yours, Brian?
Very interesting. Very legit. I actually like those picks. I actually like those picks for the most part. And I see the NFL Cup. I might need to give me one of them. One of them.
Yeah.
But for mine, I'm gonna go a little different. I think I'm gonna have about my list is gonna be pretty different. There's still some similar things, but pretty different. The number one, my number one off-season storylines going into the season. You know I got to do it. It's going to be the Cowboys. It has to be the Cowboys with all the drama surrounding contracts. Is Dak getting paid? Is CD getting paid? CD ain't showing up. He ain't doing a lick of practice until he gets his money. Dak, he's showing up, but he still wants his money at the end of the day. And I even heard recently about possible trade rumors about possibly. I don't know. I'm not going to say this is a verified source. I'm not going to say possibly trading Micah. They people just throwing the idea out there. I don't know where it came from, but I heard it in the street somewhere. So and yeah, man, it's just a whole fiasco. It's always the Cowboys every single year. You can't hear nothing. You can't listen to any NFL media without hearing the name Cowboys be brought up because they just move the needle. And it's something every single year. Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones have been oddly quiet the past month or so. I don't know what that's all about. They better be getting some contracts negotiated or something. Because if we go into the season without CeeDee Lamb, we're cooked. And I like Brandon Cooks, but he ain't no number one receiver, not in big 2024. So yeah. And then offensive line issues. They talk about possibly sitting Tyler Guyton for a full year. Why would you draft a lineman in the first round if you have to sit him the entire season? Anywho, forget the Cowboys. I'm sick of them. My number 2 storyline is actually going to be the 49ers. And I say the 49ers because the whole Brandon Ayuk situation. He allegedly requested a trade. The 49ers like, look, dude, we're not trading you. And he's trying to force his way to play with Jaden Daniels over in Washington. And people are like, bro, just give it a rest. They're not trading you. But they also did draft Ricky Purcell. I think that's how you say his name. Excuse me. In the early second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the early second rounds.
Actually, the first.
No, it was the first. It was late
round.
first.
Yeah, late first.
Okay, drafted him in
had
late
the last
first.
pick.
Okay, drafted him in the late first. People were saying, oh, Debo could be moved, but then 49ers said, we're not getting rid of Debo. Now it's like, oh, Ayuk wants to leave now because of money issues. And I'm not too sure where all the money is going at San Francisco on the offensive side of the ball. I know Trent Williams got his money, getting his money. CMC, obviously. Debo got paid, which I think was something else. But I don't know what Kittle's making. But if Brandon Ayuk is your number one receiver threat, pay him. I'm confused. I don't understand. And so, yeah, I'm going to say 49ers, and plus they coming off a Super Bowl loss. Can they get back to the Super Bowl? Can they make another deep playoff run? Is Brock Purdy magic still going to uphold for year 3? And these are all important things we need to know. Everybody pretty much assuming the Chiefs will be fine because they got Pat Mahomes. And now they got him a freaking deep threat in Xavier Worthy. We all seen the practice clip. He rolled to his left, turned his hips, threw the ball cross-body up the seam, and it was an easy, complete. I was like, oh, my gosh. We can't get rid of this guy. We can't get rid of him.
No.
But, yeah, man, that's my number 2. Number 3, I'm going to go with number 3. Here's what I'm going to do. For number 3, it's not just going to be one thing because this list would be dominated by one division. I'm going to go with the NFC East for number 3. Because there's so many different things going around with the NFC East. You got the Giants Hard Knocks. You see the offseason Hard Knocks. You see how they handling player negotiations. And the Giants fans are like, what is our front office doing? And it's really putting a spotlight on how these orgs are ran and what goes on in the off season. And it's the Giants fans are definitely keeping a close eye. They looking at the ownership like, look, you stuck with your man Daniel Jones. You gave him all that money, and we had to get rid of some players to keep for just because of this guy. You went and drafted Malik Neighbors, and you better make something happen. And the fans are, I think they're ready to revolt at this point. They see the Knicks making moves. They're looking at the Giants like, well, what y'all doing? And basketball season ain't for a few more months. So good luck, Giants fans. And also the Commanders. The Commanders, obviously, Jaden Daniels, new head coach Dan Quinn. Now it's being reported that the ownership for the Commanders, that Dan Quinn was their first choice. Okay. I was born that night, not last night. You ain't fooling me. Yeah, come on now. Let's not. You got Dan Quinn. You got a whole new coach staff. You got Cliff Kingsbury on the team. You got all these. You got some players. Joe Witt from the Cowboys. And like you said, the Commanders haven't had a elite QB in decades. And that's saying something. So this is really going to show you how much Adam Peters and company really built this roster up over the offseason. And if they don't see marginal improvements, you kind of count year 1 as a failure, in my opinion. But hey, that's going to be, the NFC is going to be very interesting because as far as I see, I'm not seeing a clear-cut winner. I know it's easy to say, oh, the Eagles, but I'm about to get into them momentarily. I know it's easy to say, oh, the Eagles, they got it. They got the best wide, Jalen Hurts. But now let's get to the Eagles. Reports recently saying that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts still butting heads. The relationship needed work, apparently. And it is year 4, I believe, of Nick Sirianni being the head coach, and it's still having issues with the head coach. And that's usually not a good recipe for success, in my opinion. And then they come in with a new offensive coordinator and Kellen Moore, whose offensive philosophy is the QB is going to have to do a lot of QBing. It's not going to be as many read options. Not going to be a lot of layups in the passing game. We've seen it with Justin Herbert. We've seen it with Dak Prescott. Will the trend continue with the Eagles? I wouldn't be surprised. You know, Jason Kelsey retired, and he carried a wide load of that reading the defense and making adjustments at the line. Jalen Hurts didn't even have to do things a lot of the times because Jason Kelsey would do it for him because he was super veteran. He's seen pretty much everything thrown at him in the league, and he was a very smart player, and he was a Hall of Fame center. Come on now.
You ever
So
seen
now
Any
that
Given Sunday?
exactly.
Yeah, it's literally like Willie Beam and the center was giving. He was like, "Hey, audible, hey, they got this coverage." Like literally, that's what.
Yeah, exactly like that. So now we get to see how Jalen Hurts really is when it's this year, 5 for Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, he came in the league. Was it same year as Tua? I think it was. So it was like 2019, no 2020, excuse me. So yeah, this is
Yeah,
fifth year in the
year
league.
4. Yeah. So really gonna have to see it. I think he'll be all right. But you know that Kellen Moore system, man, them curl routes. Get ready to learn curl routes, buddy, because that's all you're gonna see on third down, and unless Kellen Moore decide to have a change of heart. But so that was my number 3. Whole NFC East was number 3. 4, I'm gonna go with one you said, the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams. They built a heck of a roster over the past offseason. They got the defense bolstered up over the past 2 seasons. They look formidable on paper. They look very strong. I would hate to be an NFC North fan because you gotta not only got to deal with the Lions, the Packers, and now the Bears trying to be a competitive team now. Godspeed to those fans, but yeah, man, Caleb Williams, I think he'll be phenomenal. I think he'll be a great player. We've seen it on the film. We've seen the numbers. He's done a lot with not the greatest talent at USC, and I think the Bears actually have a plan for him, and that is huge. That is the thing about when you want to start off, get these young QBs, you got to have a plan and a course of action you want to take when it comes to roster building, game plan implementation, and also what team you want to be. And I think the Bears are finally, and Ryan Poles is a big part of that. They're finally getting into being a serious organization when it comes to this number 1 overall draft pick at QB. And for the fifth team, I could go a few directions. But I'm going to go with the New York Jets because like you said, they on paper, they have a very solid roster, especially on the defensive end. They have one of the best defenses in the league. Not many teams was getting their game off on them last year. The problem is they couldn't win the war of attrition because they were always on the field. Now Aaron Rodgers is coming back, and you got Brees Hall, you got Garrett Wilson, you got, like you said, Malachi Corley. You got a bolstered up offensive line. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is still even 70% of the guy he used to be, we could be looking at some real contention, new contenders coming up in the AFC. But you know, still got to go through the usual suspects. You still got to go through the Ravens, Bills. Now the Texans is coming back up, and obviously Mahomes and company. So yeah, I think the Jets, they've been kind of under the radar as far as offseason. I haven't really seen too many NFL media talk about them. They may bring up Aaron Rodgers every now and then when like a workout video drops, like that one video he was in practice in the old field practicing, and he looked fine to me. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets for my final one. It's gonna be very interesting to see how they go and how they perform this year.
Good picks overall. I like it. I love it. The Cowboys are always going to be an interesting story. They're the Cowboys. There's always
For
some
the
sort
wrong
of
reasons.
for the wrong reasons. The whole Dak situation, the whole CD, Micah getting their contract extended. Are they going to get extended? When are they going to get extended? So, that's always going to be something to look out for. You said NFC East, which is true, actually. I mean, every team in the NFC East has something going for them. The Eagles. We already know the Giants with Hard Knocks. We already see that debacle.
Yeah.
And it's easily go with the Commanders as well. They're a new group. And the Commanders, man, like, I'm looking for major changes. I'm not saying, like, hey, they got to go to playoffs, but with the new QB, you sign all these players, new coaching staff, you're in year 2 of ownership. I expect some big things for this organization. You finally got rid of the stench that was surrounding that organization for the very past 25 years. So if you can't finally start seeing some progress, then maybe the organization's just cursed. It don't matter who the ownership is. So
Yeah.
that's always going to be something, and they're the hometown team. So I'm always going to be paying attention more to them than majority of
We
the
don't really
teams.
have a choice.
Yeah, we really don't have a choice. So it is what it is. I will say Jordan Love, by the way, they're still having contract negotiations. It seems like they're progressing. I saw a report that said they might get something done in the next few days. So that's good for the Packers, man. I just want this contract negotiation stuff to be over with so we can get back to the football and we can look ahead to the future. But yeah, man, I think that'll do it for this conversation.
Just let me be me.